It's very interesting to be like this, but I think we'll get used to it after a few minutes. So, welcome, and also I want to welcome those who are online at the moment. I think many will be joining, and I know this will be also a session that people will watch, I don't know, falling asleep or eating or doing other things or spending time doing other things. So best salutations to everyone, and I'll establish also the kind of scenario for this course. And the idea is that anyone who is online, I know some are here from North Bay, from Ottawa, from other places. And the thought is that if anyone wants to ask questions, you can chat. You have Lynn at the computer, so she can entertain you. And if you don't have a clue of what I'm saying, she can explain better than me, so she can explain all on the keyboard. Those who are watching later on, they can also write comments, or they can send questions. And we created recently a virtual center, which is totally cool, actually. And it's called the Hub, or the Canadian Virtual Center. And it's a collection, I would say, of people from across the country who are trying to offer assistance, presence, teachings to people who are really living anywhere in Canada and who want to connect with the organization here and the type of classes we give, but are not able to do so physically because of distances. So the virtual center can be reached with the Hub. And so anyone who's watching now or later, they can also write to hub, H-U-B, at ca.brahmakumaris.org, and maybe Lynn will be able to post it as well. So if there are questions, if people want to share, you can do so on the chat. So at hub, H-U-B, at ca.brahmakumaris.org. 2. All right, more coming. Real people? Oh, there are more real people with legs and arms. I mean, this is getting weird. Soon we'll be surprised to see people physically. You know, one day, just to share how the virtual world is working, there was an experience with a friend at work, and we just met briefly, you know, just quickly in between things, and he's a journalist, so he was very busy, and then we met, talked a few things about work, and then left, etc. And then we met again the next day, and then he said, "Oh yeah, I left you a message yesterday about this." And I told him, "No, you didn't leave me a message about it. We met yesterday." It was real, you know, it didn't happen in your mind, it really happened. So the virtual world is a little bit changing our way of communicating. But tonight I want to really try something different. And the concept of meditation is so appealing, I think, at the moment, that many people say that meditation used to be an option and now it's becoming a necessity. And more people start to feel that if you don't take time to organize what's happening in your head, you might just lose your head altogether at some point. So as well, trying to organize what's happening in our head. Good evening, welcome. So the session that we're going to go through, if you want to, of course, is going to be on 4 different sessions. So tonight will be the first one, we'll have 3 more. And the intention for me is to really share a passion, because meditation was a unexpected encounter a long time ago, and I was just 21 years old. And by the way, those who are online or so, and for you, sir, my name is Eric, so happy to welcome you here. And so when I was much younger, I felt that, you know, something was missing in life, like many people. I used to complain a lot about everything and everyone, and the world was wrong. I was probably the only one who was not wrong. That's what I thought, probably. So I used to complain and criticize, and then one day someone told me, "Okay, you keep criticizing. What are you doing to make the world better?" And I said, "Well, nothing. I'm criticizing." And I thought, is there not a profession that can be called professional criticizer? I'm sure, critic maybe. And I realized that I was really negative in many ways, but not cultivating anything. And I knew something was missing, so I was thinking maybe I'll do some yoga. And I really thought I would do some physical yoga. So I called a few places, and this one was free. So I thought this is the only one that matches my budget. So free is good. So really that's the only reason why I came to Raja Yoga initially. And I saw a little ad, and it was so appealing about the self and about the power of thoughts, this kind of ideas. And it really was a discovery. In 1983, meditation was very marginal, and they were practiced by people who eat a lot of oats and beans and go to health food stores, have long hair, smells funny. And meditation was a little bit, not a very common thing, at least here. In India it was different, but here was different. And I never thought, this would become a real passion in life. But in the time of learning meditation, what I discovered was it was much more than just relaxing and practicing some kind of, mantra or something like that. So the meditation became suddenly not just a meditation, but a way of life. It became something as essential as eating or sleeping. And I realized that we do so much for the physical body and so little for the inner being. And we put powder, we comb, we shave, we dress, we eat, we cook, we exercise. The time needed to care for the body is quite demanding. But how much do we really spend time to pay attention to what's happening inside the self? And that's where meditation suddenly became a new discovery, realizing that there is a possibility of reorganizing what really happens in my mind, to reevaluate my feelings and to change my feelings. Do you know how to do that? To change feelings? It's quite interesting. When you feel angry, do you know where's the switch? To just turning it off, or to at least dim it a little bit. If we feel a little bit happy, do we know if there's a switch to increase the happiness? So feelings are a fascinating world. See if we can play with them and if we can adjust them. Then the awareness, just to be aware of something. Sometimes we watch a documentary and you feel, wow, I didn't realize. And then we realize and then we forget. And then we go back to normal. But that awareness is a very amazing power. When you're aware, you can do incredible things you would never do if you're not aware. What we call sometimes unconscious. So thoughts, feelings, awareness, and then the most important thing at the end is kind of my character, my personality, my behavior. Why I reacted this way? How can I react differently? Can I be more kind? Can I be more acceptant of situations? So when we start to see that these are elements of myself that I can really play with and that I can improve in the same way that and if you go out in the morning to work and then you decide, well, today I don't need to dress in different ways, so you go with your pyjama and slippers and your hair completely, well, sometimes it looks good when you don't have too much hair to look for, but if you have hair then it goes all over the place. People tend to go to work, putting themselves properly, if they can, dressing accordingly. But what about internally? What do we do to really create an inner being that we could watch and look for in a mirror and feel happy with? Isn't it? I know when sometimes for some people, if there's a little thing wrong on the body, you look at it and think, oh, what is this? Maybe I should put some makeup or fix it. But if something is wrong in our head, sometimes we just feel it's invisible, nobody knows about it. So we let it be. So for me, meditation was suddenly a new playground where I discovered that so many aspects of the self can be changed, can be transformed. And why would I do that? For a very simple reason. One is to experience more happiness. The awareness that my happiness depends on how well I feel with myself, really, and not how I feel with the world. Because we made it that way, that we're happy if things are okay. But very unlikely we find that I can be happy even if everything goes wrong. Do you feel that? That you can be happy even if everything goes wrong? Not yet. This is day one. So on day one it's good that it's not yet. I'll try to ask you the same question on day 4. So yeah, meditation became suddenly something different, and I realized that meditation was helping me to cultivate something amazing within the self, which I felt before was out of reach. It was the way you are, and you were born like that, and maybe because of the education you received, you were like that. And I felt we had not much capacities to transform all that, easily at least. So that's a little bit to introduce meditation. And what I'd like to do for just a few minutes is just to spend 2 minutes in an exercise of something very simple that will give you an idea of where we're going to go. And I just want to repeat in case, I don't know if there are more people online, Lynn? 6. So maybe just to re-welcome everyone and invite anyone who has any questions or want to make comments, they can write or write on the email at the hub. So there's one simple exercise that will really show you something interesting, and it's called to slow down the mind. And I'm sure that if we were to go for a walk right now, we might start walking fast, and I would tell you, can you walk slowly? And then you realize that you were walking fast. And they say, okay, I'm walking slower. And some people don't know how to walk slow. They always walk very fast. And you have to really hold their hand and say, slow down. If you walk slower, and you really start to walk actually quite slow, I'm sure you have done that many times, you start to feel very different, isn't it? If you go on a park and then you walk very fast, it might be called exercise or fitness exercise. But if you walk slow, you start to feel quiet, peaceful, you notice more certain things. How fast do you think the mind thinks? Do you know how many thoughts we process per day? It's fascinating, the number of thoughts we create in a day. It's really incredible. And when we realize that creating thoughts is actually a way to spend energy, we are using energy to think. People don't realize that. And sometimes they don't realize why they are tired. And we tell them, well, because you've been thinking so much. Your brain is tired. It's normal. Think less, and you feel less tired. But how do we think less? That's a mystery. So before we think less, we'll try something which is called thinking slowly. So I'll let you sit very comfortably. You just don't have any posture to take, and those who are listening at the same time can just sit quietly. And we're just going to pay attention to our thoughts. And I'm going to share a few thoughts. You listen to them, but you'll have your own thoughts in between. And these are the thoughts you have to play with. So just sit quietly. You can keep your eyes open, or you can close your eyes if you want to start. And if you start snoring, I'll tell you, and then I'll wake you up. So just sit quietly, and you'll be quickly noticing your thoughts, what we're thinking about. And we're going to choose our thoughts. And the next few minutes are going to be about thinking about just the day I had today. What happened today? So I invite you to just try to remember one moment of your day. If you were alone, if you had someone with you, just one particular moment. Try to pinpoint one moment you want to experience again. So tell yourself what happened. And in the process of thinking and telling yourself what happened, try to say it slowly in your mind. Just describe the scene, what time it was, what was the situation, and try to see how you can spread your thoughts with some silence in between. Just have one thought, then you slow down, you have another one. So, very simple exercise, right? Did you find you can slow down the thoughts? That's nice, no? I can speak fast, or I can voluntarily speak slower. And if I speak really slow, you will all fall asleep within 2 minutes. Most likely. That's why I keep speaking a little bit faster. But imagine if you could keep your mind slowing down for 10 minutes, half an hour, 1 hour. Just imagine what will happen. You know, when we go to bed, we would expect the mind to stop. But it's not stopping. Those who have a partner, sometimes the partner can tell you, you've been talking all night. I could tell. He could be, you know, visible. He was active. Something was happening, isn't it? I don't know, I have only pillows around me, so they don't tell me anything in the morning, but those who know someone is next, they can say, yeah, you've been quite active. So what happens? The mind keeps going, and it runs all night. It runs 24 hours a day. And the biggest thing I think to understand in the process of meditating is that thinking is energy. And using the mind is consuming energy. But certain thoughts can produce energy. And this is what we will find very interesting, is when we change the way we think, what we do actually is that we either spend energy or we create energy. If you try to remember a moment where you really were very, very happy. Something happened and you were so happy. Try to remember one moment in hopefully recent days. Don't go back 20 years ago. Hopefully maybe something happened this morning. Hello darling, how are you this morning? That's good. Something that happened not too long ago that made you happy. I went to pick up my nephew at the airport this morning. It was the moment I remembered earlier. It was a happy moment. At that time, try to remember the feeling of when we're happy. The thoughts we create at that time are very powerful, and they're not making us tired. Now try to remember a time when you really felt worried about something, really, really scared about something. And if you were to go back into that feeling of fear and worry, you would quickly realize how this kind of thought pulls you down. And they drain energy. So thoughts are really energy. And we experience in meditation something fascinating, that you can be really tired physically. You sit quietly. You bring your mind in a positive thinking. And your physical energy changes. Really, I mean, this is a classic. It happens. Sometimes you are in good mood. You are physically well. Something happened. You start to worry. You really, really worry, and you're really quickly tired physically, because they're connected. So the type of meditation we want to teach is a meditation where we become very, very aware of our thoughts. And the main ingredient in meditation is going to be our thinking. So to start really in the topic, I would suggest to you to think about one thing. We propose the thought. Every thought has four criteria, if you want, or four characteristics that will help you to determine what kind of thought you just had. And if you think about it, we're making you think about thoughts. So thinking about this is like every thought has a speed. And we just saw now that you can have fast thoughts or slow thoughts. A thought also has a depth. There are superficial thoughts and there are deep thoughts. You can tell to someone, yeah, I love you. Or you can put yourself on your knees, open a little box and say, I love you. Which has same words, but very different meaning and very different depth, isn't it? So speed, depth, then there's a direction. Every thought goes and connects you with something. You're thinking about something. So thinking connects you with something or someone. And it's called a direction. Your thought goes one specific direction. And we'll find that one of the big problems is that we tend to jump one place after another. Imagine if we had a conversation the same way we have our thoughts. People would be very confused listening to us. They say, what, you just thought about what now? You were talking about your grandmother, now you're talking about what? About, oh, now your food. Okay, you're back on your food. Okay, now, oh, now you're back to your grandmother. If you were to record the way we think, it is scary. Anyone would be listening to our thoughts, they will think, Mamma mia, can't you just focus a little bit and think about one thing at a time? But we jump here and there. So direction changes all the time. And the last characteristic is the quality. So there are good thoughts, there are negative thoughts, there are useless thoughts, and we'll see later there are different categories. And I challenge you to spend the next few days finding another characteristic that could really help to describe what kind of thought we have. Speed, direction, depth, quality. Really, these are the only four characteristics that will help us to know what kind of thoughts I'm producing. And it's quite interesting because everyone at different time produce different kind of thoughts. And if you want to succeed, you will find that you need certain type of thoughts. And if you want to really lose a lot of time, energy, and money, you will probably use another type of thoughts. But we don't sometimes choose the type of thoughts we are thinking. And we just go like that. And we don't know, actually. If I ask you, what were you doing at 10 o'clock this morning? I'm sure you can all figure out about 10 o'clock, what were you doing? If I ask you, what were you thinking about at 10 o'clock? Oops, can't remember. If I ask you, what did you eat today? I'm sure you can remember everything you ate today, isn't it? I hope you remember what you were eating 3 weeks ago. Okay, might be a little bit gone, but today you should know exactly what you ate during the day, isn't it? But what were our thoughts during the day? We don't remember. And we don't know if we have been really wasting our thoughts or if we didn't. I got a parking ticket today. And this is very good to know how your mind is working. Because it's a scene where you know, there's a parking problem. And when I remembered the car was parked, which I never leave the car there, and I'm never here during the day normally. So I parked the car. And when I arrived at the corner, the person was just putting the ticket on the windshield. So, and there was only 2-3 cars on the street. So I ran and said, hello, hello. And then I tried to convince, of course, this very kind, wonderful person to, delete what she just did. And she was very kind, actually. I really admired her smile, and I thought, oh, she's kind. I cannot argue with kind people, so they were. So I tried my best, but at the same time I was very, very aware that tonight is a meditation class and I'm going to teach about being positive. And I'm getting a ticket. I know it's expensive. And then I'm very, very aware of my reaction. How am I going to react? What's the level of annoyment? What's the level of negative feeling? How am I controlling completely my attitude towards the person? Well, this is two things happening, what I'm saying. But I'm very aware of what I'm thinking at the time. And I know my thoughts are going, be kind. It's not her fault. Don't argue. It happens. It's okay. Now, then a part of my mind says, okay, great yoga teacher, what is your nice meditation classes telling you? What are you telling people about, being positive when you get a parking ticket? So all this was happening in my mind. I remember very clearly, because it's fresh from today. But what came out could be controlled by what is happening inside me. But what is my ability to control my mind? Well, that's the thing. Because if I control my mind, I will control easily what comes out. And people say, oh, I couldn't hold it, I just said this. No, what you couldn't control was what you thought and what you felt. And it went so fast, there was no control over it. Now, the yoga we create, we call it yoga because it's connection. It's a form of, meditation is also called sometimes yoga. It's a connection with my awareness, my level of energy. When that awareness is there, then I'm very active mentally. And then I realize, think positive. Don't go into negativity, frustration. I had a million thoughts, when that happened. I know some people would be really negative. I think she should put in her window what they put now almost everywhere, Any misbehaving will not be tolerated, and don't yell at the person. Now you go anywhere, for all the, flight attendants, or the, when you go for, at the counter, for the airlines, they're used to be bullied or spoken to badly. So I think they always have those signs, we don't tolerate, anything. Any federal agencies, they all have these signs, behind their desk. We don't tolerate any bad thing, don't yell at me. Because they know everybody yells at them all the time, and it's not my fault. I'm just pushing the thing here. So what's happening in my mind? And this is where it becomes fascinating, when we learn to say, hey, I can maybe control what's happening there. So I gave myself about 75-80% on my exam today. Just one little ticket. Because quickly, it's easy to just use the thought, okay, it happened, fine, this period, don't expand on it. There's nothing to expand about it. Use it in a positive way. Construct something from it. And I thought to myself, okay, I need maybe one ticket a year, so it helps me not to have more during the whole year, because now I'll be really more careful. So thoughts can be used in a positive way. So these are the 4 characteristics: speed, depth, direction, quality. And I'm describing this because this is really the introduction to what is meditation. And really meditation is about slowing down the mind, creating deeper thoughts, understanding what is concentration, which means using only one direction for a certain amount of time, and searching for the highest quality of thoughts. And if we could do that at the same time, well, this will be called a good meditation, when your mind is slow, deep, very, very focused, and highly positive. And these kind of thoughts are extremely beneficial. They produce a high level of energy, which becomes really happiness, which becomes energy to behave, energy to be positive, aligned with my thoughts. Interestingly enough, what happens sometimes is that we have very fast thoughts, fairly deep but negative and very focused, that's when you're angry. And when you're angry, thoughts are like in deep meditation at that time. This is meditation, but it's called angry meditation. And it works. It works very well. You're very focused, you're very concentrated, thoughts are very deep, but very negative. And what happened at that time, well, the expression that comes out of me is very strong. You know, they will say your face was red, you were shaking. You know, I say, okay, you were really angry. But it's the same process, just that it goes on the other way. So what we are going to find out is, how do we control the mind? How do we start paying attention to the mind? And how do we learn to create a lifestyle that will be helpful in maintaining a mind healthy? If you have a thought.
I'm just wondering, do you make a distinction between thoughts and feelings? So you can control your mind, but can you control your feelings?
Right, so the question for those online is, we make a difference between thoughts and feelings? Absolutely. Yeah, thoughts, I like to always joke and say they come with cologne. You know, thoughts are very, in French, thought is feminine. I don't know, in English it's neutral, but in other language. So I usually like the idea of the thought comes with a feeling. Thoughts create feelings. Feelings create thoughts. But they're two very distinct expression of energy. Thoughts will express themselves in the language. They would tend to be, French, English, Hindi, whatever language we use. They're articulated. Feelings are totally different. They're emotional. They're sensations or emotions most of the time. And feelings are extremely powerful as well. And the image I like is like if a thought has a fragrance, and the thought will smell. If you're angry, it smells fried. It's frying food. It just feels like an oily thing. If you're very peaceful, it smells like, lavender and eucalyptus and relaxing. If you're quite excited, it smells like chili and garam masala or some kind of spices somewhere. Thoughts come with the feelings. If I ask you to remember, one of your grandmothers, I'm sure you just choose the one you like more. But I don't know, for me I like that example because it's the easiest one. If I remember my grandmother, I smile and I'm happy right away. But I need to visualize and I start to think of her, then the feeling is happiness. So the feeling is different than the thought. And yes, we can control the feeling. And we can generate different type of feelings. Actually, we will learn in meditation to create feelings of appreciation, of respect, of love for people. I always joke and say at work they teach us to, they don't teach us, they impose us to respect one another, which is good. Nobody knows how to respect, but they say you should respect. And I find sometimes we should say, no, you should, more than respect, you should love people, really. It would be much better, much easier to respect them if you love them. But it will look very strange at work if the director says, okay, now we're all going to love each other. Excuse me, this is not my job. But as a spiritual person, why wouldn't it be so? Really, I feel that this is the fundamental feeling that we want to create with other people, appreciation. So this meditation is going to be really about that, and creating a kind of thoughts and a kind of mind that will really help us throughout the day and throughout our life. Maybe some have questions online, or anyone has more questions here. We can play with that. Okay? I'll say just a few words about where this meditation comes from, because some people have the thought, okay, what is different between this meditation and other meditation? This organization is an international organization that started in the early 30s or mid 30s in India. The founder, Brahma, was quite a very interesting man in the 30s, and he had a series of revelations, awareness, big awakening moments. He was a very deep devotee, very religious man, but he realized that there was really something that didn't work with his practices, his religious practice. And what he felt at the time was that the real spirituality was actually missing from the religion and from what people were doing. It was a time when, of course, it was before partition in India. There was already, conflicts, political struggle, colonial country really present in the country. So there was a lot of issues, and one issue that strangely really shocked him was about the situation of women in India at that time, and the fact that women really were not given the respect he felt that women should have so received. So he created an organization that very quickly was clearly going to be an organization run by women. He dedicated all his wealth to the establishment of what now is known as the Brahma Kumaris, a very well-known organization in India. And it was a very unusual thing to do, to create a trust with young women and telling them that women will lead a spiritual life and will help the world to become more spiritual. If you say that in India in 1936, most likely you'll be killed very quickly, and somebody will not like it and will try to oppose, which is exactly what happened. So the establishment of the organization was a little bit dramatic, because some people thought, why are you changing the culture of, the tradition? And he really felt that, women should be equal to men in all aspects. But more than that, they should actually be given leadership in presenting spirituality. So that was a little bit of a revolution at that time. So as controversial it was in the beginning, today it is probably the largest spiritual organization run by women in the world, and recognized to be an organization where women have really taken very, very interesting leadership. All our heads at the moment are elderly women, and the head of the organization is a woman named Daddy Janki, and her age is 103. And she still talks, and she still likes talking. She gives classes still today, and she was in England again recently. She went to Germany. She gave, talks here and there. Slower, but she still managed in an amazing way. And all the establishment of the Brahma Kumaris are elderly women today. So not only respect to women, but also to elderly people, which is quite inspiring. Yes, of course, plenty of men and younger people playing, a very, very important role. But the focus of the organization from the beginning was to re-establish a culture of values on a spiritual level. And the Brahma Kumaris became very quickly known as, yes, meditation, but more than meditation. So they offer now in India Raja Yoga camps, which are camps for younger people, women, politicians, scientists, all kind of different groups. The headquarters is located in Rajasthan, northwestern part of India. And it hosts regular retreats for thousands of people, and literally you have like tens of thousands over a few weeks period, and tens of thousands again, and they go like this all the time. So what started with a small group of 400-500 people in the 30s now is international organization in, I don't know numbers now, but it's 100 some countries, 20 countries in the world. And the work that we try to do as an organization is to motivate people to first look at their own life and find the means to make their own personal life better, more spiritual, recultivate values that we all believe in, universal values, respect, love, happiness, tolerance, compassion, and very, very universal values. And the method we use has a lot to do with meditation. And we find that meditation is a bit what food can be to the body. And they would say sometimes, tell me what you eat, I'll tell you who you are. And we say, well, tell me what you think, and I'll tell you who you are. And we use the kind of mantra, I am what I think. It's not so much I think, therefore I am, but no, I am what I think. And so if I change my thoughts, I change who I am. So this is a little bit the background of the organization. The way we operate locally, every center is totally independent, and we try to encourage every location to be self-sufficient. So we're not into, big money around the world and raising funds or something like that. Every local center is usually run by volunteers. Most of us, I work full-time, still have a full-time job, and most of us are either some are retired, some are still working or part-time. So volunteers are really taking care of the place. We offer everything free of charge because we believe spirituality has no cost. You cannot sell peace. You cannot really connect on a real way once you start charging. So we find that we like this concept that we meet, we share. I'm happy to share what I've been learning and what has been useful for me for my whole life. If people want to make donations, that's how we operate, free donations, and we pay rent, we pay electricity. All the activities of the center are usually managed that way. And it's kind of a little miracle, I would tell you, every month. We sometimes have a few waste thought about, oops, there's nothing this month. But by the end of the month, usually we almost make it, so it's fine. It works okay. And we like this notion of community, that we want to really be present in the community and make it available to everyone. So it shouldn't be an issue of how much does it cost and can I afford it or can I not afford it. What else can I tell you about? We have different teachers. We offer classes in different languages. And the beauty is that wherever you go in the world, if you find Brahma Kumari's meditation center, it's kind of very much the same buzz that you will find in the centers. Same atmosphere, kindness. People tend to be very friendly, very warm, welcoming. So this is what we want to share. And then for the next phase of the course, I'll just complete this evening with a little bit more about the way we're going to learn how to think differently. And the next 3 sessions will really go into more mechanic of the self, and then the practice of meditation itself. Meditation is really just one step in our whole journey. Meditation course is simple in 4 sessions, but it takes, I think, 4 years, 40 years. I don't know about 400, but at least many years to explore meditation fully. I've been meditating for 35 years, and still my amazement is that sometimes I meditate and I'm thinking, this is the best meditation I ever had. And I know I'm going to think the same way in 2 weeks from now. And sometimes we joke because we made a point of having those curtains, transparent, so people see what we do and feel inspired to see, what are these people sitting there, staring at the wall? And what I like is when you have a room of people with a smile on their face, staring at the wall. I say, what are they doing? Just staring at the wall and smiling? I say, yeah, this is called meditation. You just stare at the wall and you smile. And meditation at work should leave you with a smile. Meditation that leaves you with wrinkles on the forehead, you try too hard. Just don't do it the hard way. Meditation really produces feelings that are incredible. What I like about the name of this meditation is called Raja Yoga Meditation. And why we call it Raja Yoga, it's to really make it clear on what this meditation is for compared to other meditation. And this meditation is yoga. Yoga means connection, union. So that meditation really wants to be exactly like plug that you will plug in a wall, a jack you will put in a wall. Current will happen. And we really feel that meditation is a way to connect, so that you feel empowered, you feel energy going to the self, and the soul, the spirit or the being, can recharge its energy. And we really feel it. We find that when you meditate well, you sleep less, you eat less, and you're more happy and you have more energy. And I'm trying to even equate that with you play tennis better, but I'm not sure about that. I'm trying very hard. So yoga is that kind of connection. And Raja is an Indian word that signifies royal. So king, Maharaja, like the great king, or Rajasthan, the land of the kings. So Raja Yoga is known sometimes as the king of all yogas, because it's the most difficult one. Physical yogas will teach you how to create postures physically, or breathing exercises, asanas, breathing exercises. And you can, yes, create very beautiful achievements with a physical posture which aligns your mind also, in a way. But to directly try to set your mind in a specific posture, this is a bit more complicated. I can show you maybe how to cross your legs, and you'll feel maybe a little bit stiff in the beginning, but to cross your legs is one thing. But this lotus position, it's physical, but actually we say the origin of that lotus posture was a mental posture. And it's just one example, but the lotus posture of the mind is actually to be like a lotus flower, to be in the mud. Usually lotus flowers grow in stagnant water and not very pleasant water, but not to touch the mud. And the reason why we use the lotus in many spiritual symbols is because the lotus is a beautiful, delicate flower. There's a very little fragrance, which is very nice, but grows in a strange, place with mosquitoes and bugs and mud, but doesn't touch it, and it remains pure, totally white and crisp, even if the world around is not. And we've considered that this is a symbol for the mind. If I can keep my mind like a lotus flower in the world, which sometimes has a lot of bugs and mud, then you are a yogi. And this is a posture. This is yoga. This is a yoga posture, but of the mind. And if your mind has that kind of posture, you regain sovereignty. You regain control over yourself. And in Quebec, we have great success about our self-sovereignty, because it's a very appealing concept to have sovereignty, in Quebec. So we say, yeah, but you can have sovereignty. If you don't get it with referendum, you can get it with your own mind. And this is what we try to have, sovereignty over the self. So that my own inner world, I can own it, I can control it. And we find that the aim of Raj Yoga, the purpose of meditation, is to regain control over my own kingdom, which is myself. And if I can generate better feelings, higher thoughts, know how to improve my relationship with others, how to understand why things are the way they are, and how to respond better, well, we believe that overall the quality of life is really, really improved. There are many other methods in the world, and we don't pretend to be the method or the truth. We just say Raj Yoga is a very interesting method, and if it works for other people, well, great and welcome. So the meditation we'll practice doesn't involve mantra or breathing exercises, nothing like that. It's really about the speed of thoughts, depth, direction, quality. And that's what we call Raj Yoga. Did I go around some of the potential questions that come on the first day? Why are we wearing white? Sometimes that comes out. I'm trying to clear everything, right? And after we can move forward. Why we're wearing, you see a lot of people wearing white. And I don't wear white all the time at work. I tend to be quite colorful, by the way. But at the center, he's laughing because he's a colleague from work who knows my kind of colorful style. But at the center, we like it white because it's very peaceful. you know, and if you, the white shawl that you're using here, and I don't know at home if they are seeing white on the screen, but it's a color that makes it very peaceful, very pure. And I really invite you one day just to try at home when you come home. And if you have a bad day, just try that. You have a bad day, you come home, you're really not in good mood, something is going really wrong, take a shower and put nice, clean, white clothes and just see what happens. It's quite bizarre, but it just right away makes you relax, makes you feel a little bit more quiet. Have a nice white shirt. Black is fine too. I wear a lot of black and I like black, so don't. It's nothing to do. We don't make it a dogma. It's just we like to create that atmosphere. So when we come here, a lot of people are wearing white. Sometimes it's just wow. It's just feeling of. If you go to a gym, they wear tight little stretch things and they have like things here, and everyone their own style, right? And if you go to big evenings, they long dresses and crowns and whatever. So each one has their own style. Yes, and we have chairs, so we don't have to sit on the floor, and you can sit comfortably. I think I answered everything, right?
So I'm just curious, like in terms of the meditation itself, you know, you sit and then you go through the thought process. But is there, you know, can you meditate, be in a state of constant meditation?
All right. So the thought for those who are online is we sit, meditate, create nice white, have all our little, you know, fancy things around to help. But can we have a constant meditation? So I'll leave you with a thought that I heard from a great yogi. And she said one day, you know, and she was answering a question I asked her about something very similar. And she says, a great yogi is not one who can sit in meditation for a long time. Is one who doesn't have to sit in meditation to be in meditation. So he can be a long time without having to sit to meditate. That's how she formulated it. So our aim is not to spend a lot of time sitting and meditating, although in the beginning it will be needed. But the aim is to be able to maintain that awareness, even though we are not sitting in a peaceful lotus position in the center. And this is why actually we have one very different practice of meditation, which we do with the eyes open. And we'll share that a little bit more in next sessions, but the way we meditate is we keep our eyes open. And it has many advantages, although most people find it inconvenient in the beginning. But one is that it keeps you awake, which is very good, because meditation and sleep, I'm sure you will understand, it's not the same thing, right? So it's quite hard to meditate, to be honest. The moment you slow down, your body will think that this is time to sleep, because it's the way it's used to connect. You don't move, nothing is happening, oh, that must be sleep. And the body, you'll see, will tend to create sleep at that time. So we have to really force the self to be awake, because meditation is about awareness. And eyes open are such that you create an awareness, and your eyes will be open, but you'll be a little bit like daydreaming. You know, like when you're in the moon, you're like this, but you're not staring at anything in particular, but you're just like that. And what happens is that when the meditation is kind of over, well, there's a continuity. If you close your eyes and meditate, it might be nice, but you'll be like almost meditating, and then we know they're just about to fall asleep or they're having a good time. And then when you open your eyes, back to the world, you know. And it's like there's a break. And it's like suddenly your meditation becomes a little dark world, inner world, and then there's the real world. So to avoid that, the eyes open, you meditate, meditation is over, and then you walk out. And you stay in that awareness as long as you can. And the purpose of our meditation is to exactly be able to be on the sidewalk, walking, at the grocery store, and the lineup waiting, in the traffic jam, and suddenly make your switch mentally. And be at the wheel, in a traffic jam, not at a high speed, and you don't meditate and like that, but you can be in a traffic jam, and then you start to think, oh, let me be positive now. You can play a little soft music in your car, relax, and be aware of your thoughts. And that's yoga, that's meditation. Whilst driving, whilst walking. You can do a lot of times moments where you create these little moments during the day. And we will find that actually that's our aim, is that there's less and less differences between meditation and non-meditation. Our seniors and those elderly women, they walk around and you look at them and you think, I don't know, these are extraterrestrial people. You know, they have an aura like they're really so intense, and they look at you and you can tell. They don't make any difference. Daddy Jenke, who is the head of the organization, has been tested by a few universities. And some abusively call her the most stable mind in the world. That was for the headline. But they tested her, and she can maintain delta waves whilst counting, speaking, meditating, doing things. She can maintain the same pattern of waves in her brain, which is quite rare. Delta wave is when you're deeply asleep or in a coma, usually. And she creates that anytime she wants. So it's different. But she's been practicing meditation for a long time, and she was, as you say, she's like Asterix. She was Obelix. She fell into the big bowl of soup when she was young, so she's part of it. So yeah, the point is how to meditate whilst doing other things. When I learned, I was younger, and my job was to be a carrier, from one place to another, and you carry things from an office to another. So I was spending a lot of time in the subway, and I used to practice in the subway, meditating, and it's fascinating. Everybody's crazy and rushing, and you're so quiet, so peaceful, and being aware of your peace in the subway at rush hour. It's very nice. And when you're meditating and you're calm and you're peaceful, you'll see how different we are. You shake hands, you're not just shaking hands. Your feelings, giving peace, you're aware of what you're doing. If you're drinking, you're just aware of the water, everything changes. And that's open eye meditation that helps to create that. As it gives you, so you'll come back next week?
Sure.
Okay, good. Any thoughts online, maybe, or they're very quiet online. Huh? We don't hear them.
Just sleeping.
They're sleeping, maybe. Put on mute. Anyway, so we'll finish with just I'll share with you an example of meditation. We have Lynn who will play nice little soft music, and again, in the beginning, I'm aware that I'm going to talk a lot, and we're going to meditate little. And hopefully, by the fourth session, I'll speak a little less and we'll meditate a little bit more. But we need to explain a lot of things before. So tonight was more like an introduction. And next Thursday, now we're going to really move into, we're going to open the hood of the soul and see what's in there. And now we're going to become really, put your sleeves up, and then we're going to really look at how to meditate. So for this meditation, I really invite you to sit more straight, because now to give a signal to your body that resting is over. Now you have to make the body participate in a meditation. So same for those who are listening online, you just sit really physically alert. And it's good to have your feet on the ground, so you feel really the ground. And you can leave your hand like this. It doesn't really matter. I'm making you do this now just to make you aware. And I'm going to again suggest thoughts, soft music, low light. Try not to fall asleep and follow what I'm sharing, but try to add your own thoughts in between. So if I'm saying I'm starting to feel my hands are warm, then you tell yourself, yeah, I don't know, they're warm. And you're aware of your thought. You can be humoristic. You can say, yeah, he's speaking really funny, his accent. Oh, it's okay. Okay, what he says, hands are warm. Okay, my hands are warm. Talk to yourself to be aware of your thoughts. And try to do a duet with me. I'm thinking, I'm saying something, and you're thinking. And we'll try to align, we'll dance in our minds.
Your eyes closed?
No, you keep your eyes open. I'm going to check on you. I'm going to watch you. So you keep your eyes open, and you can either stare at the candle, you can stare at the flower, at nothing, your hands, just the eyes actually, it's a muscle. Keep your muscle of the eye quiet. You can stare at the little point here. This is made for that, actually. And anything. So the first thing to do is we're going to take a deep, deep breath. So inhale very, very deeply and feel the air coming into the body. And you fill your lungs with air, and then you exhale completely. And again you breathe fully. Your eyes open. And this breathing, stronger than normal, makes you feel how much air we can circulate in the body. And we know we're giving oxygen to the body, and that oxygen is energy. And you imagine the air spreading throughout the whole body, reaching your brain, reaching every cell of the body. And now we're just going to turn our attention to different parts of the body and feel your feet on the floor. You need to just move your toes a little bit just to appreciate the connection with the earth. How, even though we're not directly on the soil, but how we're grounded. The planet Earth under our feet. And just imagine that energy is actually coming from the earth through your feet. You can actually even feel your feet warming up. As if there is heat. Just feel how your feet are warm, and how there is an invisible energy circulating on the earth. And I'm just becoming aware of that energy, and I'm connecting with the planet Earth just through my feet. We call it sometimes Mother Earth. There's a beauty of being connected with the elements. So my feet is receiving energy from the planet. And now I'm feeling the energy of my hands. And just realize how your hands also connect with energy. But this time it goes the other way around. And actually hands are giving energy out. And I invite you to turn your hands the other way, with the palm of your hands facing outside. So the palms are not touching your body, but they are facing the room. Just concentrate a few moments imagining that from your hands there's energy coming out. As if your hands are spreading just a very gentle energy. And in between your two hands, you can even visualize a current, as if there was a ball of energy that you're holding. I'm sure you can feel it. It's an invisible energy, but it's there. And let us just imagine what happens when we take the hand of someone else. And when we put our hand on the shoulder of someone that we love. These hands can give so much energy. And now let us put our hands back on our knees and just feel the warmth that suddenly comes from your hands. And imagine that your hands are actually continuing giving that energy that reaches the body. And we can think our hands are almost healing hands. The hands touching your body are like hands giving blessings. Because when we recognize the sacredness of our own body, and the body has been given to us by the nature, the body is so sacred, so precious. It allows me to be alive now. Without the body, I cannot do anything. It's not being attached to the body, but it's being aware of how important this body is. And to realize that if I respect the sacredness of the body, I have a new connection with my physical self. It is not just a body. It is part of nature, and it is an expression of the wonder of nature. So I feel my feet on planet Earth, my hands giving energy to the world. And now I move my energy and my awareness on the center of the forehead. And I just pay attention to this simple thought that somewhere in that part of the self, behind the eyes, in the center of the forehead, is almost the seat of my consciousness. This is where my thoughts come from. This is where I create thoughts. My thoughts are not created by my hands or in my feet, but they come right here in the center of the forehead. And I'm just enjoying the fact that suddenly my thoughts have become slower. I'm just trying to see how I can direct my thoughts. And even if my eyes are open, I see the room in which I am. But I can almost see as if there's a little bit of light. I let my eyes become very relaxed. And everything becomes soft. And I tell my mind just to relax. My mind is at peace. My thoughts are peace. And I'm just starting to feel that peace is also energy. The energy of peace. And that energy of peace is such a powerful ingredient for the self. Such an essential experience. So yes, peace is a state of mind. So my thoughts are peace. Okay, nobody fell asleep. It's good, and some are smiling, happy. Did you feel something, or was it hard to concentrate the mind? Yeah, it goes into other things, or I don't know where it goes. Did you feel something, or?
Yeah, I think it was interesting just to, what you had told us to do is to have our own thoughts
Mm-hmm.
and observing our thoughts. So I think that was creating some emotions as well.
To observe the thoughts, yeah. What about you? Did you? Yeah.
That was like between past and future, you know, like as you were
Past
like,
and future,
I felt
saying.
like gliding and I'm
Mm.
moving through the body, like the thoughts and you know, like but very peaceful.
Mm. It's just the beginning, but I'm sure Teresa, quiet. Yeah. But it's. I hope I can share with you by the end of the other sessions that power of peace. When peace becomes such a beautiful, it's like you're, I love when we clean at home, and when it's, when it's totally clean, like you've done really a big cleanup, and then you enter your apartment in the evening or your house, and it's like smelling fresh, and everything is so clean. You like that? Peace in the mind is like that. You like your mind. You say, "Oh, I wish it can stay like that all the time." Like there's no clothes hanging here and there, and no things messy around. So that's the peace. Peace of mind is like that. It's when the mind is free from any other useless thoughts.
So in a way we're cleansing our thoughts and our mind.
Yeah. Peaceful
Not
thought.
right now.
Yeah. But we'll try to help in doing some cleaning. Yeah.
And for you, like you see difference, because you've been doing this for many years, but people, like what's the difference you see in people when they become master of
Mm. Well, we see the question being, what's the difference? What do we see? To be very honest with you, I find that it takes about 3 months for people who come here before they really start to master a little bit what's going on. In the beginning, it's fascinating because I hope that it will be your case, but when I learned meditation, I was excited with the prospect of what it could be. But it was not happening. And I was complaining a lot, saying, I'm sitting here, there's nothing happening, I'm falling asleep, and it was boring. I was really nothing was happening. But I knew, it could be possible. You'll hear me talking a lot about tennis. I love tennis, so I take tennis lessons. And, I see what they do on TV, and I say, oh, that would be nice, but you go on a court, oops, I play differently than them. I use the net a lot. I find it's very useful to put it there, because you don't have to go and get your ball on the other side. It's right there. So if you, do something and it doesn't work, it could be discouraging, but I know it's possible to do it properly. So in the beginning, it's a few times like that. You know it's possible, but it's not happening. And my experience, and I know some who are here teach also, I'm used to see people after a few months, sometimes after 3 months, they come and say, whoa, this morning I had an incredible experience. And I say, okay, finally it's kicking in. But it takes sometimes 3 months, because there's a lot of clutter, and there's a lot of noise and nuts and spaghetti in the mind. And then, I say I'm peaceful, and most people, yeah, I don't know, I'm not peaceful. It's kind of jumping around. So it takes a little time. And my experience is that when people start changing and experiencing that meditation, most people would say they feel better at home, they react differently, they are less stressed, they're less negative in their interaction with other people, they take it a bit more easy, they don't how to say in English, they don't create big stories anymore so much with certain things. They tend to, oh yeah, fine, it's happening, okay, don't get crazy. So they tend to, slow down a little bit certain things. Not that they lose passion and excitement and thrill about all kind of things, and then we find on the long run that people start to really pay attention to their personality, how they really express their attitude, their love, their caring, their respect for others, and how they feel so free. My experience for me is the word I liked when I started was to be free. I wanted to be free from those negative ideas and have that freedom of the mind, lightness of the mind. That's really what I was hoping to get. And today I really enjoy the, sometimes we have that's why we invite people to come here physically. I showed you the vault. In the meditation here, we're in a location here is a former bank. So the vault has been turned into a meditation room. But I call it sometimes the spiritual microwave. And you just need to press 5 minutes. You go there. And it's so strong sometimes. You just sit in quietness and it's so intense. And you feel, whoa, that was like a, super vault. That's, I like that buzz in meditation. And then you feel rejuvenated, positive, okay, you can forgive, you can forget, you can move on, free.
So you walked us through some sort of a guided meditation, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I guess, as we progress and go over the different levels, then it becomes more of a self.
Yeah. You're seeing clearly where we're heading, right? We pose a question. This guided meditation, the question being we're using guided meditation, they're a little bit, I don't know, I would say like, the little wheels you put on a bicycle for kids so they don't fall. They're like that. And yes, one day you'll come here and then we'll take them out. And we say, you're on your own. And we'll just play music a bit and silence. And so those guided meditations are crutches at the beginning that just help people in the process. I still use sometimes more advanced ones. Those are really, really deep reflection on certain things. I like some of our seniors. But no, ultimately you do your own at some point. And anyway, you'll be so tired of listening to me that you'll really want to listen to your own mind. So if there are no more questions, I'll just say goodbye. And again, for those who are online, to really thank everyone for taking the time. So I hope we meet again next week. And you see, I have to do my little pitch for the sale, Mm-hmm. It's getting better and better every week, believe me. So anyway, thank you very much, and hope to see you next week.